butterflies in my stomach. I'm seated facing the panel and they hit me with that common question. Tell us about yourself. Yeah. Do you have any weaknesses? How do I respond to these common questions that seem so magnanimous? I don't know how to approach them.
And yet they're very simple.
And they're very simple.
They're very simple. So, but let me just take back a bit. I've just remembered what you talked about in terms of culture. Why it's very important to know the organization. There was an organization where this gentleman was working and he was really a frustrated employee because this organization, start in the morning, you have to start with a word of prayer, you read the Bible before you start work. There's always a meeting first thing in the morning. And that was the biggest stress for him. He has never read the Bible. So if it is his duty to read the Bible and tell everybody about Jesus, he is stressed, he's sick, he comes late. And so if he knew earlier, he would not be in such an environment. So it's very important to look at which organization you are applying. Are you comfortable with that kind of culture?
All right. Very important.
You may be the right person for the job, but the culture is not allowing you to be. Secondly, there was an issue of the marks that you get. You know, you enter, you see the way you are dressed, everybody's putting 2 marks, 1 mark. Why should you lose that marks? Secondly is about the course that you have done. So for example, there are organizations that say if you get a first class, you get 25 marks. If you have a second upper, you get 20 marks. Second lower, 15 marks. And that's standard. For example, I think in education, when teachers are being employed by the board of management, that's a standard template that is given by TSC. And so when you are in school, basically what I'm saying is when you are in school, it's not just good to graduate.
Okay.
Please graduate with the best marks that you can manage. If you can get first class, second class, somebody who just worked a little bit harder, maybe 10 points ahead of you, just by the degree that, the class that he got.
Okay.
So be very careful about that. That will affect the decision that you'll be given. Now, so it comes to the questions, then you are shot that very tough question. All the questions are very tough, but you have to take it with authenticity.
Okay.
Just realize that these are human beings who are just asking you a simple question, and they expect a simple answer. And I think Victoria talked about, the way you should approach any question that you are asked. Never yes, no. Never one answer. Make sure you give a story. And what's normally recommended is try to give a situation related to what you have said. For example, when I was meeting my boss, and make it work related. Don't make it, personal, like it's a relationship, personal life. Make it a work related issue, a school related issue, something that is at an open, formal place. And I had this conflict with this gentleman. That's the situation you're talking about. And so I decided this is what I needed to do. So you're trying to define, and you're putting the panelists to imagine that problem that you're facing. And how you analyze to say, I need to do A, B, C, D. For example, a customer comes and is complaining, shouting at the reception. So you saw it, that's the situation. So what was the task? What were you supposed to do? What did you actually do? So you just now say that in a narrative, in a story. So when I saw this, I decided I need to calm the situation. I approached the customer, I apologized, I asked her to sit down, gave her a glass of water, took her to the boardroom, and tried to listen to her. Now this recruiter is just imagining you working in Standard or wherever you are applying, and is imagining all the customer problems are sorted just because of you.
Just like that.
And you just get yourself the full marks. And you make it have a happy ending. And sometimes you don't have to have, the customer does not have to agree with what you have said. You say, when I explained to the customer, he was not happy with that situation. But I followed up and, at least to a resolution. Maybe I escalated it to the boss. We sent an apology letter. It was, things like that. Because not everything gets resolved. So others become difficult. But what did you do? And the more difficult it is and you resolve it well, then the panelists now realize you're a good communicator, you can understand conflict, you can have good customer service skills, you understand what the vision of the company is. So you get even points for other skills that you have not been asked questions for. Leadership, you start earning points. That's how you need to approach that tough question.